Welcome to Ocean Stories, a podcast about the people doing incredible things in, on, and around our oceans. I'm your host, Lydia Carey, and I believe in the power of stories to save our seas. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? How does my voice sound? I'm back in San Diego. I got back a few days ago, and of course, immediately I got laryngitis. Which, if you don't know what laryngitis is, it's basically the universe's way of saying, please stop talking for a minute. Please just be quiet. You've given enough of your voice to the world, and it's your time to just be silent and reflect. So that's what's been going on with me these past few days. I finally have enough of my voice back just in time to record the intro for today's episode, which is an interview with Manon Erné. She is a founder and entrepreneur of a surf brand called SunDaze Surf. There were a million things I wanted to talk about today on this intro, but because of my lack of voice, I have to conserve it as much as possible. I did want to say though, in the spirit of being back in San Diego, check out the Scripps Pier live cam. Okay, I just found out about this yesterday. They just turned on a camera off of Scripps Pier, which is like a giant pier here in La Jolla, and it's just an underwater camera, but I'm obsessed with it. I don't know if this is a universal experience, so you guys can tell me, but when I was a kid, my family would always watch the live cams of nature. Like, there were these websites we would go online and watch, like the savannah and live cam to see if any animals would pass by. Giraffes, rhinos, not rhinos, those are super endangered. Elephants is what I meant to say. And sometimes you could see a super cool animal. Sometimes you would see a hyena. But most of the time it would just be nothing. Is this not a universal experience? I don't know if this is like 90s, 2000s kid vibe. But I think we should bring back the nature cams because they're so fun to watch because you never know what you're going to see. Right now, I looked at it right before this and there's nothing but there are some lobsters that you can see, which freaks me out because lobsters are like creepy aliens. Love them, but you get what I mean. I have heard, by heard I mean I read online, that sometimes you can see an octopus and sometimes you can see bat rays. So if I ever see that, I will be freaking out. I will be putting it on Ocean Stories. But yeah, I thought maybe some of you would think that's fun. The Scripps Pier live cam. It also helps you figure out ocean visibility. I just love I'm looking at it right now. I love looking at the little fish because the waves make them move around, and it's just so funny to me because after coming from the Mediterranean, it's so calm to see the fish being like tossed around by the waves. They know no peace. They can never sit still. But anyways, let's get into today's episode. SunDaze Surf is a sustainable women's surfwear brand. Manon and I connected on Instagram, and I was super happy to chat with her about what it was like starting her business, how it's been going, because the business has only been around for the past 2 years, and I thought this would be a fun, businessy addition to the how-to Ocean Edition series that we're doing right now. As a content writer for sustainable brands and someone that has worked with many a small business, sustainable business in her day, I think talking about the issues that they face is super important. If we want to create a new economy, if we want to create new sorts of businesses that are more circular, we have to talk about the problems that we're facing and figure out how we can solve them. If you're a small business owner, if you're someone that has a dream of starting a business one day, you might find this conversation enlightening. If you wanted to learn more about SunDaze Surf and how they started, then this is a pretty cool origin story from Manon. Hello. Welcome to Ocean Stories. Thanks for coming on. I'm really excited to chat. Why don't you introduce yourself and let our listeners know, who are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm Manon Erné, and I'm the owner of SunDaze Surf, which is a sustainable surf brand.
It's super interesting to me the way the brand has been growing. You're almost at 10,000 followers on Instagram. You have this beautiful collection. If you're listening to this right now, go be the 10,000th follower.
Please.
I'm really curious to learn about what the journey has been like for you, like you as a person, and also what the journey has been like as a brand. Let's take it all the way back to the beginning. What was your original inspiration?
Okay, so I started the brand because I had moved to Bali, and I was surfing with my boyfriend, and he was always putting our scooter key in his little pocket, in his board shorts. And I wanted to go surf by myself, but I couldn't really do that because I didn't have anywhere to hide my keys safely. So then I was like, oh, that'd be nice to have a surf suit with a key pocket. So I went looking for one, but I couldn't find it. So I was like, nice idea. Let's store that somewhere and like come back to it. And then I went to the Mentawais on a surf trip, and I met my co-founder, and we were just chatting, and basically we decided to start the brand together because she had the same dream, and we thought we'd just combine our powers and start the brand. So we did. And wait,
What year was that? How long ago was that?
This is just over 2 years ago. We've been live for almost 2 years. 2 years in September, and the Mentawais trip was in January. It's this amazing place. It's like Disneyland for surfers. It's just like an island group with all different islands and like heaps of surf breaks. It's a dream, honestly. But it was so scary because I was a beginner and I was there on my big yellow board, like scared, but it was still a great experience.
How long have you been surfing?
I first started surfing. It was 2018 in Cape Town, and I just got hooked right away. I loved it, and like got a board and a wetsuit and everything, and had like a full plan to start doing it more consistently in the Netherlands. But I don't know if you've ever been to the Netherlands, but it's not great for surf. It's all wind swell, it's really cold, and like you get a few good days a year, but that's all really. So yeah, I didn't really continue. I just went on like a few surf trips and then started surfing consistently in Bali. Yeah, exactly.
What were the steps once you realized that you wanted to create this surf suit that had pockets for your keys? What were the initial steps? Because you had this great idea, you had a friend to do it with, and then what?
Okay, so I had a very clear vision because I had tried a bunch of different surf suits from other brands, and every time I was like able to point out like I don't like that zipper because it's coming undone in the water, like that's not working for me. This shape is just not very flattering on me. So I had a few surf suits that I didn't like, but I knew how I wanted to improve them. So I had a clear vision. These are going to be the shapes that I would like to make, and this is how we're going to make this key pocket because it's just a small pocket and I wanted to include it in every piece. So I found a way to do that. And then I also found prints that I wanted to use because first we bought them, now we designed them custom. And yeah, then I just went on a big research hunt for a good production house or like a tailor that could help me make these surf suits.
How did you find someone to make them? What was your criteria?
Oh, this is the hard part. I thought I had found a good production house because I just reached out to a bunch. Like there are so many in Bali, and I tried to find someone who could make this pocket because that was the main objective. That was what I wanted to include. And also someone who could do the sustainable fabric and had a quick turnaround for samples, wasn't too expensive, like all these different criteria. And I thought I had found a good place to make these surf suits, but then that ended up flopping completely. Like we lost a lot of money because it's a whole story. So what had happened, it was just after COVID, and I thought this was like a good production house, and I had some criteria, like I wanted to go there to see it. I wanted to make sure that it's like ethical and meet the people because I like working with people. I do work a lot online, but I want to meet you in person if I can, you know? So she had said that that was fine. And then we had given them the down payment. And then they were like, yeah, we can't meet in person because you're not like triple vaxxed. And this was after COVID, like the restrictions were gone. And she was still like making up all these excuses why we couldn't meet her. So that was like an immediate red flag. I was like, what are you hiding? You know? Why can I not just go there? Like, I'm in Bali, let's go. So
That's crazy.
yeah, and it was like I had paid, had proof that I had paid, and then she was like, yeah, the payment date is like a week after I had actually paid. But we were on a clock, like we had to get this done, get these samples as soon as possible. And she just kept changing the dates and everything, and it just didn't feel right. So eventually So we wanted to make the collection, but we wanted to add a t-shirt and a tote bag because we thought it'd be really nice to have something else to sell on the website. And I love a cool graphic tee, so we just wanted to do that. And we had found a different production house who could make this t-shirt for us, and actually through a Facebook group. So if you're looking for anyone who can make something anywhere, really, I feel like a lot of places will have these Facebook groups, so you can just leave your question in there and find you get a bunch of responses, so it's really great. And then you can go take your research from there. That's where you start, pretty much. And yeah, I basically told them, like, this is the situation. Would you also be able to make these surf suits? Because I was really happy with their communication and their work. They had like a portfolio to show me. Previous clients they had worked for, I was like, whoa, that's impressive. Yeah, I asked them and they said, yes, we can actually make them. So I ended up going with them for everything that we make, and we still work with them. They're really, really great.
It was fate that you avoided the sketchy people.
Exactly. And I'm like very strong with my intuition. I always follow my intuition. And with that, I was like, yes, we lose money, but we're not going to continue with them because it doesn't feel right. And we have to move on, you know? It's just money at the end of the day. Like, yes, it's a loss, and it's not great when you're starting a business, but you have to just go with your gut, you know?
Totally. In the beginning, how did it feel putting like this big investment into the brand, starting out, not really knowing?
So scary. And like, this was part of my travel budget. Like, I did not have a lot of money to start this brand. That's why I couldn't do it by myself. Because I had just started traveling. I thought I was going to go on a 1-year trip. I'm still traveling. So we're like almost, well, how many years later? Like 3? I'm 3 years into it. I had to do it on a small budget. And it felt scary, but I've always been someone who takes risks. I packed up my whole life with my boyfriend. We gave up our apartment, moved all our stuff into storage, and just jumped on a plane. That's something we did when we moved to Bali. And now we're still going with the flow. We don't own a house or anything. We'll see where life takes us, kind of thing. So with that as well, I was like, money, it will come back to me. If I can't make this brand work, make it successful, then I'll find another way to make money, to make it back. Because I'm still young, I was able to get a working holiday visa in Australia. I worked there. I worked like 3 jobs pretty much. I was doing like really hard work in Australia. We were building glamping tents. Like, I was actually like a builder.
Whoa, what?
I got really strong. It was great for my paddle power, but yeah.
Building glamping tents?
Yeah.
Wow.
At like holiday parks.
That's a unique job. I've never
I
heard that
know,
one
yeah.
before.
But I got my, is it the 90 days or like the set amount of days you have to do to get your second year working holiday visa. So I did that, and then I was also freelancing still because I've always been like a freelancer, like video editing and marketing online, and then also SunDaze. So it was a lot. And when I was there, at one point I was like, I can't do this anymore. All I do is work. Like, I work all day, all night. Even before work I was working. So then I told my boyfriend, I was like, I can't stay in Australia, it's too expensive, so we gotta go back. I need to go back to Bali. So I went back by myself for a little bit, and then he joined me again. And then I really scaled back my other work because I was like, I'm gonna give it my all, because that's what you need to do. Like, you can't just half-ass it, you know? Either give it your all or it's not gonna succeed. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna give it my all, because that was the time as well that Rebecca and I decided to split ways because she was too busy with her work and she couldn't commit to it fully. So then I was like, well, I'm already doing most of the work, so I don't think it's fair that we continue together. So we decided that we're just gonna go our separate ways, but we're still really good friends, so there's no hard feelings or anything. But yeah, then I decided, okay, I'm gonna give it my all and we'll see what happens. So then I went back to Bali, and that's when things really started happening. I was like, right, the main issue of why people are scared to order online is because they can't try stuff on. They don't know what their size is, and that's stopping them. So then I was like, right, we need to get into stores, because then at least I can have some places where you can go to try everything on and yeah, just view the whole collection in person. So I reached out to Drifter in Bali, which, if you know the surf shop, it's one of the big ones, and their store is really cool. Like I love going there, and yeah, they wanted to take on my brand, so that was like a big step because that's a lot of people shop there. It was a
That's
big step for
crazy. How
me.
did it go communicating with them? Did you just pitch them your brand and you were like, this is
Yeah,
my brand?
Instagram, everything on Instagram, pretty much.
And it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah, I went to
You shot
see
your shot.
yeah, I shot my shot. I was nervous as hell. Like it was so scary. But when I got that, I was like, right, I'm invincible, baby. You know, and that's that feeling. And then I was like, now we just need to keep going. This is step one. We did it, and it gave me so much courage to just keep going. And yeah, we've had a lot of followers from the start that like keep following us, which is so nice. Like we have such a nice community, and I'm really noticing that these people who've been following us for a long time are now finally also ordering from us. So it just took a little while, you know? Maybe they also needed the to have faith in us and like see that we actually made it and that we are going to keep going and to put their trust in us. That's what you're doing. Like you're trusting that you're going to get a high quality product delivered, which we do deliver high quality products. I can tell you that. I'm very confident. But it just took a little while, and more recently I found someone, also just someone who reached out to me. This is kind of how everything happens for me. Like my designer Faith, who is amazing, she reached out to me on Instagram, and I couldn't work with her back then. This was like at the start of the brand as well. We were like a few months in, I think. And I always remembered that DM, but I couldn't afford to hire her at the time. So then a few months later, I was like, right, these designs that I can buy are not working for me. I want something custom. I have all these ideas, but I can't find it anywhere, you know? So then I did a little story on Instagram. We always do this. We asked the community, a bunch of people replied, and then she replied again. I was like, right, this is Faith, you know, we need to hire Faith. So, yeah, she's still our designer today. And so another person who have reached out to me more recently was Dazi, and she helps me out with ads on Instagram and Facebook. And this just really helped like skyrocket. Well, I don't want to say skyrocket, that's a big word, but that really helped to get our online sales going a lot more because people are obviously discovering the brand. They're seeing us on these ads, and people are buying. So yeah, in the past like few months, we really grew a lot from that. And the pop-up store in Amsterdam, that was such a crazy experience. Like people came from Germany, from Belgium, from the north of Holland, which is like 2 hour train ride. People who've been following us for a long time were a fan of the brand, but again, scared to order online because they didn't know their size, if it would fit, because one pieces are very particular, like you don't know how it's going to fit your body, especially if you're tall, which a lot of Dutchies are, of course. It was such a nice event to meet everyone. I really wanted to take the time to have a little chat, yeah, hear their story, which was just so amazing. And it's such a crazy thing. Like sometimes I get recognized also in the water, and people are like, oh yeah, you're from SunDaze, right? And I'm just like, ah, this is nuts. Like I never expected that to happen.
Well, that leads me perfectly into something else I wanted to ask about, which was how, sort of as part of your recent marketing, you're showcasing the behind the scenes and yourself as the founder and yourself as the creator, which is how I found you and how I found out about the brand, because I think me and a lot of others find that sort of thing really interesting, to see like who's behind organizing the products, who's shipping them out. And when it's a person rather than a giant corporation, it feels a lot easier to connect to and like something that I want to support. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's also the reason why I started doing it. I really wanted to do this from the start. I've always been like, I really want behind the scenes footage at the factory of everything being made and everything, but my production house was quite new at the start, and they still had to develop with that as well. So now they actually have a videographer that always I can tell them like, oh, okay, I want footage of this, and they will get it. But before that, I was asking for it, and they just wouldn't be, they were not able to give that footage to me. So I feel like everything just grows naturally in that way, you know? And now we're at a stage where I really wanted to be for a long time. And also because I'm shipping the products myself now, it's temporary, but I've always wanted to make these pack with me videos, but we have a fulfillment center in Bali and they ship for us, so I can't really make them, you know? But my mom is actually gonna ship for me from starting from like next week, which is so cute.
That'll be a
She's
great
so
video.
excited. Yeah, and I already told her because I got this tripod for her. I'm like, Mom, these are the videos that I'm making now. Like, you know that you're gonna be the one like filming these. And she's like, yes, I can do that. That's so cool.
That's so sweet. Number one fan.
She's obsessed. She really is. Like, she has a closet dedicated to her SunDaze items. She's so cute. And then she sends me photos because she just remodeled her house. And she's like, SunDaze headquarters.
Well, I need to see her. I need to see her front and
I
center
know.
as the campaign.
I will share a picture because she was at the pop-up store. She came especially for the event because she lives in Ireland. She doesn't
Okay.
live in the Netherlands. Yeah. And she came with her best friend and they were like trying on our tees and like having a blast. They loved it. Yeah.
That is so sweet. I know that sustainability is a big part of your brand because, of course, it was inspired by your surfing and your love for the ocean. So, can you talk a little bit about how you've incorporated sustainable principles into SunDaze?
From the start, again, this was one of the objectives that I really wanted to include was for it to be sustainable because I feel like if you're not starting if you're starting a brand today that is not sustainable, I'm not sure if it would work because everyone's very aware of sustainability and fast fashion. I feel like it should be a thing of the past, you know? So what I did from the start is obviously make sure that the fabrics we use are the more sustainable choice. So we use Econile regenerated yarn in our fabric. Our fabric is Carrigo Vita, and that's like a really high quality swimwear fabric. It's made of discarded fishing nets, and it's 100% regenerated nylon fiber. And for our t-shirts, we also use organic cotton, which is certified organic cotton. And the bag that we first made, which is sold out now, was made using regenerated yarn, and it was made in Java. So another thing we really try to do is keep production as close to home as we can. So our fabric is printed in Java, then it's sewn in Bali, and we ship from Bali, but we now also ship from Europe. So what I do is I get one big bulk shipment and ship it to Europe. And then obviously we can ship from here. We also try to have as little returns as possible. So we make sure to have lots of different models with different body types on our website and Instagram. And we always add their height and the size that they're wearing so that you can see what size will work best. And we're always available in the DMs to give sizing advice and everything. Which I really enjoy doing because then I can also chat with you and it's a nice way to connect. And besides that, we also try to use as little plastic as possible. I always get really mad when they give me samples in plastic packaging. It really annoys me. And sometimes they pack it in the wrong bags as well. And it just shows that I have to triple check everything. I always send really clear instructions. I provide all the more sustainable materials for packaging so that they're not using their plastic bags. I invest more money into that. I don't have to do that, but I find it very important. So I arrange all of that. And if we do use plastic, we always make sure to recycle. For shipping from the Netherlands, I have more control over it. So I'm able to get 100% recycled plastic mailers. I did some research about this as well, and the research showed that it's better to use 100% recycled plastic bags because you're not using new sources to create this product. So that's what I do, and also protects the products better. And then for all our other materials like paper, I do recycled paper. Stickers, I go for the more sustainable material, which is more expensive usually but I always invest in that because I find it so important. When we first started out, we didn't have garment bags yet because it's hard when you're a new brand. The minimum order quantities are very high. A lot of things are not possible because you are so small. You produce small quantities as well. So what I did to avoid using plastic, we made these wash bags that we used to ship the items in so that we're not using plastic.
I always think a lot of stuff within shipping and production is just naturally so unsustainable. I recently had a conversation with someone about how the pallets that big manufacturers use are made of like this horribly toxic plastic, worse than any other normal commercial plastic, but those are the pallets that are the standard in the shipping industry, so they have to use them, and how unless there's a lot of consumer demand for a new type of pallets, which is so random, then it won't even, they'll have to continue using and producing these toxic plastic chemical ones. And the reason what you said made me think of that is just that sometimes things are going to get shipped to you in plastic. Like, I just don't think right now, with the infrastructure in the world we're in, every brand is going to have the ability to do every single thing 100% perfectly. It's just not possible. And without an insanely large investment at the start, it's simply not possible. So what I like to think is that as these brands like yours and other sustainable small brands grow, they can have this influence because they're asking the manufacturers, can you use my sustainable mailers instead of your own? And then someone that runs those production centers is going to think, a lot of the brands are sending us their own sustainable compostable mailers. Maybe we should look into offering them ourselves, or maybe so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
It's funny though, because a lot of these materials are available, but you always have to research because sometimes they don't work well with high temperatures, right? So in Bali, it gets really hot. If your things are in a fulfillment center and they're not like doing really cold AC all day, if it's not on blast, then it's gonna melt. So that's also not sustainable because then you have to always have your AC on and your product gets ruined, which is also not sustainable because then you have to produce something new. You can't sell it.
And what if it gets delivered and it's melted?
Exactly. You don't want that.
That would be such a big bummer. That would not be good for the reviews. My package arrived melted.
One of the things that we really wanted to do when starting the brand was give back to charity because it just didn't feel right to start a brand and not give back. So what we do is we donate 1% of every sale to a charity. And the charity we're currently supporting is IDEP Foundation, and more specifically the Bali Water Protection Program. And this program is basically, they build recharge wells across the island to replenish fresh water by collecting rainwater. They also offer a lot of education to the locals, so on how to improve. They also have education programs to spread awareness, and actually recently just made our donation, which was for an event of theirs. We're actually looking for a new charity to support, so because we're almost 2 years in and we want to find a new one. So if you know any good ones, let us know in our DMs.
Starting out as a smaller brand, it can be kind of scary. It can be kind of difficult because there's a lot of swimwear brands out there and you're starting from nothing. Like, you're creating something from scratch. So I'm sure you had some naysayers, some doubters, and I'm sure you doubted yourself. How do you deal with the self-doubt and the doubt from others about the success of the brand?
I think for me, I'm very confident about my idea because I feel like we have this great unique selling point that I can be confident about, you know? So yes, I do have self-doubt, obviously, but I just believe in my product. So that's whenever I'm unsure, I just go back to the basics. I'm like, no, you did this, you know it's a good product, and people love it. So why would you be unsure, you know? But obviously, there are a lot of other brands out there, and I just try to be unique. That's all I really try to do. And I try not to look at others too much because that really doesn't help, you know? So don't compare yourself too much. Just go on your own path. Find something that is unique, that is truly unique, and also find your own style, especially because we're doing prints and everything. I always work with the same designer because it took a while for us to find our style. But now that we have that, I don't want to ruin that, you know? So I'm actually taking her on for more hours as well because we're growing and I just really want to keep making unique prints.
Yeah, and when you have something you believe in, an idea or a product that you really believe in, I think that makes it easier to push away the doubt and to push away the idea that it won't work out, because it's like, I really love this product, so why wouldn't it work out?
Exactly.
Something else that you made me think of, though, is also that an unfortunate reality is that these sustainable initiatives, like using better fabrics, using better paper materials, and what have you, they're just more expensive. So
Yeah.
it means that the final product is just going to have to be a more expensive product. How have you handled that? How have you dealt with just having to have your prices be higher than what someone could find? Target in the United States, that's what first came to my mind. They make so much swimwear, but it's obviously all made of not sustainable fabrics.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what's the European equivalent of Target. Zara,
Yeah, or like H&M. I don't know, like
H&M.
well, they're doing
Yeah,
more
how do you
sustainable
go about
efforts,
competing?
but yeah, maybe I shouldn't say H&M and like put them on blast.
Listen, I don't think this podcast is going to get sponsored by H&M anytime soon, so I'm not
damn.
afraid to
Okay, cool.
I'm not afraid to say that. They're just straight up not sustainable, so.
Yeah. Well, I think what we focus on using the more sustainable fabric, yes, but we also focus on quality. So when you're buying something that is from like fast fashion, lesser quality fabrics, it's not gonna last. And when you buy a surf suit from us, it's not only the sustainable fabric, it's also very high quality. So if you take care of it properly, it's gonna last you for years. And that's also more sustainable. So in the end, you don't have to buy a new surf suit every year, and it actually works out cheaper. So that's girl math. That's girl math right there.
Yeah, and better for the earth as well. It's actually making me think right now. I feel really bad because a lot of the swimsuits that I bought last year, I loved them. I wore them so much because I go to the beach a lot. So I wore them day in, day out, all the time. And just naturally, they start to lose their
Shape.
their
Yeah.
color. They just start to get a little bit degraded because I'm wearing them in the salt water every single day. And it just
Yeah.
makes me kind of think that I should be a little bit more thoughtful about my swimsuit purchases because I wear them so much, I think, that they just get degraded really quickly.
It's also like, obviously, you know that comparison, like you get a car, you don't expect it to just run. Like you need to take care of it. It's the same with your swimwear. Like we have so many tips on how you can really preserve the quality, and the fabric that we use also has all of these great features, like it's oil resistant, pilling resistant, like shape retention, all these different things that really make it a high quality product. But then you also take care of it well, so you hand wash it, you use a mild detergent, you make sure to rinse the hardware so it doesn't tarnish. And with that as well, like you get wax on your surf suit, right? But there are ways to get rid of that wax. Like you can really lightly rub it with coconut oil and it will get rid of the wax. So it's not just like, oh, it has wax, I can't use it anymore. It's like, no, there are ways. You just have to put in the effort, you know?
I think that's a growing movement in the sustainability world in general, is mending and taking care of our clothing rather than just throwing it out, which I've definitely been guilty before in my life of doing that. If something gets a horrid stain, I don't think, oh, let me cut the straps off this and turn it into a handbag. I usually just donate it, which that doesn't even make sense. I'm like ashamed to even say that. It doesn't even make sense because nobody wants what you don't want, right? So it's like trying to take care of our things, invest in high quality things that are going to last, and then if something happens, if you get wine on your surf suit, I don't know what people are doing, then they figure out, like, I got wine on one of my shirts recently, and my friend was like, on Google, we're gonna get white vinegar and baking soda and we're gonna lightly brush it and then we're gonna soak it, and it worked. Like, it took it out.
Yeah.
And so it's just like being more mindful of how to make our things last longer. I think that's so important in the sustainability world, and it's growing in popularity because people are realizing textile waste is like such a problem.
You know what's also funny
Anyways.
with this? Another reason why we do prints is because you don't see the stains as much. Like, obviously, you're wearing it in the ocean. The ocean is dirty. Like, it's gonna get dirty. Like, sometimes you get stains that you can't really wash out. But if you're wearing a print, you're not gonna see it that well. And we use dark lining because on the dark lining, if it's white, you're gonna see stains, right? But on dark lighting, you're not really gonna see it. So then in your mind, you're like, oh, this looks good. Like, I can still wear this.
That's a great point. I love that. Now that you're 2 years into the business, it's starting to go well, starting to pick up. You've had lots of ups and downs. Where do you see it going from here? What's your dream?
The aspect that I enjoy the most is connecting with people. I've always enjoyed that. Like when I'm going surfing, I'm always chatting with everyone and like I'm very social. So what I really want to do is do more community events. I've been planning like I did a market last weekend. I might be planning another little pop-up store soon. And I really want to do like an Australia tour, which we're planning behind the scenes in like January. So because I do have this travel lifestyle, I want to just use that more. And then wherever I go, I can connect with people and also connect people live there who are traveling there, which is already happening through the group chat and everything. Like people will be like, I'm in Lombok, I'm there too, let's go for coffee. Like I love that people are doing that. And that's what I want to build on. And I also want to start producing more products, so different items like clothing. I want to do men's boardies, so and maybe even kids one day. Who knows? I just want to be like an all-round surf brand, and we're already starting to do that. Like I'm wearing the new baby tee, which we launched.
Let's see it. Let's see a little preview. Not my first.
Not my first
surf
rodeo.
Very cute. Love it.
Yeah. So we're starting to, bring out some more products, which is really exciting because we do have this production house that can do so many different things for us. Like
exciting things in the future. If you could go back in time and give yourself some pieces of advice, some things that you wish that you knew when you were just first starting out this surf brand, what would you wish that you had known?
I think that if you don't give it your all, it's not going to happen. Like the success, because I am a one-woman show, right? The success is very much based on how much energy I put into the brand. So know what you're getting into, I guess. Like I don't take days off.
Because it's a lot of work. It's no joke.
Yeah. I've always been a hard worker, but my work-life balance is very much off. Like I'm working on that right now. I've had a lot of like hard lessons that I had to learn, both business and like in life, and I've grown so much as a person. I've had like a little business before, so I did have some knowledge from that. Maybe the one piece of advice I would give myself, start doing ads sooner because it works.
Sometimes the best advice is not even philosophical, it's purely practical, but you had to go through all of the mistakes and all of the searching to finally figure out that, hey, paid ads is like what I needed, and just like that one little switch can make a huge difference. Hearing you talk also reminded me something I always hear, because I'm a freelancer, and I always see this thing. It says, I hated the thought of working 9 to 5 for someone else, so now I work 24/7 for myself. And this is so true for me. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, the thought of doing 9 to 5 for someone else is horrible, yet because I work for myself, I'm always thinking about it. It never stops. Like, there's not a moment in the day where I can completely forget about what I'm doing. For some people, that doesn't work for them. For some people, that is not a sustainable model. For me, I still prefer it, but I think it's just to each their own.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I feel like what I have like found as well in this whole journey is that I need to, if I can, I need to surf, because I can switch off. That's like my moment to just focus on surfing and not anything else.
One question that we ask all of our guests is, what's your favorite ocean story or ocean memory?
I think for me, it's not like just one story. It's just the fact that the ocean always challenges me and makes me conquer my fears, which is something that makes me feel very empowered. So it's obviously still it's surfing because it's always a challenge. But more recently, I went to Thailand and I got my PADI for scuba diving. And I was really scared because I was like, I'm going to be like underwater and breathing through a tube. Like, that's crazy. I don't know if I can do that. Like, I used to have asthma when I was younger and I would like wake up and I couldn't breathe. So that's like a real issue for me, like a little trauma. But yeah, my friend really wanted to do it, so I was like, right, I'll do it with you. I'll conquer that fear. And I was so scared, but I did it. I got the patty. So that just that really makes me feel so good. That's what I love about the ocean. Also because I was scared to see sharks, but I didn't. So
You didn't see any.
no, I just saw a lot of beautiful fish. I was like, right, if it's like this, I can just do like advanced snorkeling, but then with scuba gear. That's cool. That'll be me.
Thank you so much for coming on, for sharing a bit about your story, giving some pieces of advice, a little bit of reflections, and I'm super excited to see what SunDaze does in the future. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And if anyone has any questions, you can always slide in our DMs. I'm more than happy to chat. I really enjoy that.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Ocean Stories. Don't forget to follow our social media channels for extra content behind the scenes and to connect with our guests. If you like this episode, please leave a review and let us know what you think. See you soon for more Ocean Stories.